writer slash person of sorts. I just like to work and I like to be an actor, and I've been very fortunate to get to do that in anime, film, TV, radio, whatever comes up. So I'll say 7 characters I've worked on. I played Asuna in Sword Art Online, and are you guys watching on Cherami?
Yes.
I'm gonna try to live tweet this week. I haven't been on the last couple of weeks because I fell asleep sitting up waiting for it to come on. Because I've been working like 70 hours a week, and so I'm like, you shouldn't do that again. So yeah, I think I can be able to do it this week. I'm gonna sleep a lot tonight so I can stay up. And then I play Lucy in Fairy Tale. Anybody wants to know what she looks like, you can look at the adorable Ivy. She looks way cuter than Lucy. I mean, well, Lucy's pretty cool. I also play Patty in Soul Eater and Soul Eater Not. And I'm excited because I haven't seen any of the full episodes of Soul Eater Not.
You're going to.
I'm crashing it tonight.
Yes, we'll be there.
So
you will enjoy yourself.
I went to Micah and Brand, and I was like, am I allowed to go? Because I'm in it. I just haven't seen anything. Because when I went in, I was recording for Psychopaths, and they're like, "Why are you here? Let's just knock out Soul Eater Not." So no one was in yet. So I haven't heard what anybody sounds like. So I'm excited. And then I play Sailor Venus and Sailor Moon and Sailor Moon Crystal, which we got to like announce that we're doing at Anime Boston.
No
and they didn't tell me that they were going to announce that, so she was like, "So we're doing Crystal," and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And like none of the other sailors were there, so I'm just on the panel like, "Yay! Yay!" So yeah, and then I've worked on a couple other things. I was Tamaki and Bamboo Blade, Shauna and Shakugan of Shauna, Natsumi and Sergeant Frog. Why is that show gone? It's depressing. And I don't know, like a lot of other random shows. Oh yeah! Setsuna and Negama, and then Sasami Magical Girls Club.
You were also Sirma from Mugen Souls, right?
I don't know. Yes, the game, yes. I didn't know I was allowed to talk about that, so I was like, no.
Maybe.
But I am. If you know about it, then yes.
I didn't know, but now I know.
Yes, yeah.
Gertrude Barkhorn.
Do what?
Gertrude Barkhorn.
Yeah, I'm the little munchkin in Strike Witches.
No,
I prefer Miyafuji.
Yeah, Miyafuji.
Stephanie Shea, your co-star, was Gertrude.
That was I think Stephanie was Sakamoto.
No.
No, that was,
I'm just saying my name.
that was, Caravan from David.
Oh, you're right.
Stephanie was,
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, that was the first time when I met Stephanie. I was like, "Hi, I think we worked together in Strike Witches." She's like, "We worked together in a couple of things." That's all I remember.
Not often you get to meet an actress that's shorter than you.
That's how I knew that she would record. Is like her, Brittany, Ayu, and myself. Whenever we go in to record, I'm like, "My people have been here." Like lately, I've been going in after Patrick Seitz, and I just walk in and go, "Really? Like, who is he? An alien? How is that even fair?" Yeah.
Small people for the win.
Yeah. You know, whatever. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Yes.
Just what were your thoughts about playing blank on her name, but the girl, your character in Psychopaths?
Oh, Mika.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Psychopaths was really fun. That was the first like simulcast dub that I had worked on. And since I'm now primarily living in LA, and I do go back and work at Funimation, they were like, "Well, we don't know how we're going to get this done because we have to knock out an episode a week, and then it goes on the air. Normally with DVDs, we have like a little bit more time to get more episodes done." And so they worked with me a couple times. They made a couple trips back, and there were days that we would be like finishing up one script, praying that they were going to send the email with the next script, and if we didn't get it, we just had to wait. So I got all of that done, but I just worked on the first Psychopaths and thought it was just like a one-off kind of character, and she got to come in and be a little traumatized when bad things were happening to people, and I had a really great time doing that. And then I found out that she got to come back, and the director was like, so I'm interested to see, I know a second season exists, I don't know if we're gonna dub it, but this last episode sets it up that your character is kind of going to be the new kid on the block, and that would be really cool. So I was always hoping we were going to get to do that. And season 2 was really intense. It was really intense, and because it was a simul dub, we would record. And then when we were out of episodes, we were out of episodes. And I was like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. I was like, what do you mean you don't know? Because the way each episode from that show airs, you're like, what? What now, people? And then I just have to wait like a couple of weeks before we got more episodes. So it was a lot of fun. She's a controversial character in that a lot of people don't like some of the choices that she makes. Which I can understand that, but I also think it's a fine line of like trying to survive, and once she's like trying to do the right thing, and sometimes when she gets into those awkward situations, it's like, well, what's the lesser of two evils here? You don't know. And it's all about perspective too, so which is why I love that show. Yes.
In a fight between Sailor Venus, Mika, Yoshika, and Yuki, who would win?
Well, I always have a hard time, and I'm like, I feel like, well, if she talked, you would be out. Because she'd be so distracted by the pain, she couldn't do anything. And as long as it wasn't a guy that had been like an ex of Sailor Venus, or they had some sort of history together, I think she'd be pretty solid. Yoshika would be okay that's the problem with all of these characters, which I love, and that's one of the things that I love about all these characters, is Yoshika gets very distracted if she's like, it's not their fault. Like, I want to help them. So I feel like they can all be very manipulated by the power to help someone and love that person. And that can be very distracting, which would be my problem as well. So I'm gonna be like, just take them out. I'd be like, no. They're just misunderstood. Sure, they have a gun to your head. It's just because they're not communicating their feelings and I'm not understanding where they're coming from. I get it.
And you're dead.
So I don't know. It would be different. It would be different situations, but I think their kryptonite is all the same thing, is that they love people, except for Yu's would probably be the pain from her voice. So if she kept her mouth shut, she would probably win. I think. Yes.
So, what are your thoughts overall on just playing the character of Lucy from Fairy Tail, like her progression from the beginning to where she's at now?
Oh, it's been amazing. I mean, I have not had the opportunity or the gift to be able to play a character for that long. I mean, I know when we started working on Sergeant Frog, they said there's so many episodes, we're going to be doing this forever. But Lucy has had such an amazing arc. I mean, she started out being pretty naive and not knowing, she knew she wanted to be in Fairy Tail, but that was really the only thing that was driving her. And then as the show progresses, you find out all the stuff about her family and how connected she is with her celestial spirits, and then with the group, and like all the adventures that we get to go on. It's seriously an emotional roller coaster. And not only have I gotten to play Lucy, but I've gotten to play baby Lucy, Lucy's mom Layla, Gemini Lucy, and Edalus Lucy. So
You get to play all the incarnations.
I'm like, who do I get to be today?
Someone that's not Lucy. Oh.
But yeah, Todd and I were talking about, we've been playing these characters for at least 5 years now, and that's really, really cool. And I hope it doesn't come to an end, because I would be really sad to see her leave, because I feel like I know her so well.
The anime currently is at probably its most dramatic point yet. It's coming up to its most dramatic point, at least in the manga too.
Okay.
It's like amazing stuff.
Perfect. Everybody keep liking. Yes.
What advice would you give to people who want to be into voice acting?
Okay, the first thing, I started out not really knowing that voice acting was a thing because I started acting when I was 5. So I just knew I wanted to be an actor, and I was driven by the desire to be on Barney. That's really it. And that didn't happen. I had the opportunity to be on Barney, and I was working with the director on another project, and they said, we can get you on Barney next week. And the director was like, don't do this, it's gonna destroy your career. And 8-year-old Cherami was like, this is my career, this is my destiny. So I ended up doing a lot of voiceover when I was about 7 because I sounded like a 3-year-old, but I could read. And so I just got like thrown in front of a mic, and I'm doing like voiceover commercials every week. And so I really didn't understand as a kid that there was TV shows, there were movies, there were voiceover, there was cartoons. All I knew is like, I get to go to work today. And I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to go in and play a character and say these words and meet new people. And so I think that's probably the best thing that I could tell anybody is start out trying to be an actor because this is such a competitive industry overall that there might be only like 2 animes that are recording at a time. Not at Funimation, there's a lot, but it still ebbs and flows. You might have like 2 anime auditions and there's nothing right for your character. But if you didn't know, or you were only focusing on voice acting, you would not have gone on the commercial audition that would be a national commercial that would pay you $50,000 that you're like, cool, I can sit back and like hang out for a while. And that's what's great about commercials. And then film and TV work, you just want to make sure that you're casting your net as much as possible, because the desire to be an actor is just to be a working actor and to work as much as possible so you're available when auditions come up or someone's like, can you come record tomorrow? And if you have a full-time job, you're like, no, I can't. I'm performing surgery, I can't make it. So I would say just go into acting classes, take as many acting classes as you can. A lot of people do a lot of voice and diction classes, they'll do singing classes. I took singing lessons just because, and then when I walked into Funimation one day for D. Gray Man, Todd was like, so Road has a song, and no like warning, no like, hey, be ready to sing today. It was like, they played it twice and they go, and go. I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? So I would say like take any possible class, and the biggest class that I would recommend taking is cold reading classes, because we don't oftentimes get our audition sides ahead of time. We will get voiceover auditions from our agents that say, can you get this in 30 minutes? And you've never seen the sides before, you have to come up with a character on the fly and just go. So that is definitely important, and make sure that it's something that you really, really, really love to do. Because if you want to make it your full-time job, it's going to be really painful sometimes because you love it so much, you want to play these characters, you want to work, but you're surrounded by a bunch of other super talented people that feel the exact same way. So it's important to say, no matter what, even if it's hard, even if this month is a little tricky to pay my bills, I still love doing this, and it's rewarding, and I feel great about the product that I'm putting out. I feel great about the characters that I'm producing, and enjoy every audition that you go on, because it's a gift to be able to act that day whether you get the job or not. So that would be my advice on being an actor, and have fun, because, you know, that's why we did it. Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have a question. You are an Iron Man fan, if I'm correct. So,
I am an Iron Man fan, yeah.
So, there's going to be Captain America 3 coming out next year. So, whose side are you going to be supported by? Iron Man
Civil
or
War.
Captain America? And also another, this is actually a 2-part question.
Yeah.
The first is which side will you be on? Iron Man or Captain, which side will you be cheering on? Captain America or Iron Man? And number 2, if Iron Man was a Sailor Guardian, which side of the Guardian would he be?
Ooh, that's good. Well, he would not be Sailor Venus,
It would be caught dead in
which
disguise.
crushes me to say. I think think he would probably be Sailor Mars. I don't think he would be Sailor Jupiter. That would be the Hulk.
You just tell that to Amanda when you see her. Like,
No joke. Okay, so getting to the airport yesterday, Stephanie, Amanda, and I all rode to the airport in LA, and we got all of our stuff in the bag. Traffic was horrible. We have 2 GPSs telling us opposite ways on how to get there. So I was like, we should videotape this, but my phone died and it was too stressful, and we were like, just make it to the plane. But anyway, we get on the shuttle, we're getting off, we're going to the airplane, and all of a sudden, like, Amanda takes the suitcases, picks them up, and just gets off the airplane, and me and Stephanie were like, Amanda? That was impressive. She goes, yeah, it's whatever, let's go. Like, I was like, she's totally the Hulk. But yeah, I think he would probably be Sailor Mars, Lucky Christina V.
Christina being its Iron Man.
And I don't know which side I would be on because my husband has been watching all of the like Marvel superhero movies, like whenever it's not a basketball game because the playoffs are on. We're watching a superhero movie, and while I do enjoy basketball, I'm like, all right, so Golden State's winning again. Like, duh, I'm over it now. He's like, no. Memphis could make a comeback. I'm like, they haven't. So, whatever. Let's just watch some Avengers. So we've been watching all those movies, and I had never seen the original Captain America until a couple of months ago, because I wasn't a big Captain America fan. And I watched it, and I was like, he's not that bad. And then when I saw the new Avengers, which was awesome, I was like, oh, Captain America, you're pretty cool. So, John's like, are you changing alliances? I was like, no. If there's anything that I am, it's loyal. I'm very loyal. So I will stay on my Iron Man side. But I might be the person that's like secretly sending messages to Captain America side.
You're a double agent.
Yeah, but is that,
But I'm still loyal.
but is that Captain America or Chris Evans?
No. It's Captain America. I think Chris Evans is cool. I don't have an issue with Liam Hemsworth as well. I mean, I saw an interview with him the other day where I was like, this is too long for you. The hair is too long for you.
But he's Thor.
Yeah, but he's still cool. Like, I'm not an issue. I watched him play Family Feud on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I think they might have had a few adult beverages. No judgment, I'm just saying.
Those are like an 18 and over family.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. Let me do, yes.
What's the funniest thing that happened in the movie?
There's like a funny thing that happens every single day.
I mean, like,
I can think of Big on HD.
something that
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. See, lately when I've been going into work, there's always shenanigans that happen at Funimation. But lately when I've been going in to record, we've been like, okay, we have 12-hour days, so let's just like knock it out. So we have to like sit down and focus. Trying to think what happened. Oh, I know when we were recording Psychopaths, because this is recent, and it wasn't like even super funny that happened, but it was just something that we're doing. So a lot of intense stuff happens in Psychopaths, and if you haven't seen it, just like think of one of the darkest things that could happen in an anime, like how bad could it get, and then like amp up the blood and the gore, and that's probably the situation. So we were watching that, and I was previewing it and responding accordingly, like, this is awful. This is just, I don't like this, and then I found out they were recording it, and they're trying to create a track of all of the actors responding to the animation the first time they see it. I don't know if they're gonna release it, but, so they have this track, so I did one, and they said, oh, you gotta listen to, I think it was Brian Massey. You gotta listen to Massey's reaction to something. And I was like, oh, okay. So they played me back Massey's reaction, and I'm trying to think of like a character that everyone would know Massey from, but he's got a really gravelly, Lad Russo. He has a really gravelly, deep voice, and so he's just like all man, like super, super deep voice. And then he's watching something that happens in Psychopaths, and he goes, oh my god! Like, it was like,
hear what you
I
just
can't
heard.
hear it, and it's so funny. And then that's happened a couple times. Massey did another one for Fairy Tale. He had a random like villain character. I know he's like turning people into pretzels or something like that. Yeah. His little voodoo doll person. Yeah. And he was doing that, and he does one yell in it that it's his voice, and then it sounds like a second alien voice comes out of it, like it's double layered. So they played that, and I was like, that's so cool. Did you guys double layer that? And they were like, no, Massey's voice just did that. And so the next time I saw Massey, I was like, you are an alien. He was like, no, I just have an alien with me that likes to jump out. And like, that was really cool. So like crazy things happen like that. They always leave bombs. We had some funny things happening during a live tweet. Death Gun has been very hostile with me in the beginning. Whatever.
Oh.
I know he just wants a hug.
Oh.
Yes.
What would you say is your the hardest type of character you could voice in any anime or game, and which would be the easiest?
The hardest kind of a character?
Yeah, like voice type range, all that kind of stuff.
Probably the one that I'm having, I guess the hardest time with, and it's not like painful on my voice, it's just because I'm not confident playing those characters, is like a teenage boy voice between like 15 and, or like 12 and 15. I'm like, oh, little kids, I got it. I'm confident doing that, but like a teenage boy, because I don't want him to sound like too girly. But I auditioned for something, and I was like, I had a director that's like, please just send it in. I was like, okay. So I sent it in, and he goes, you need to do this more often. I'm like, I just don't know. So every time I get an audition for that, I panic a little bit, because I don't feel confident doing it. I also think it might be a little more difficult on my voice, because normally it's lower, it's gravelier. When they screaming in that lower place, you have to support a little bit more, because it can tax your vocal cords. But I don't know, I haven't really had a character that I've been like, if I do this one more time, it's gonna shred my voice and I'll never be able to work again. I think there was one character that I played where she had like glass. She was like transforming or something, and glass was coming through her body in like all these different places, and they're like, so we need to feel like you've got glass like digging into your skin from the inside out. So I did that, and the director was like, that was so cool. I was like, thanks. And then I needed like 15 minutes and it was back, but I was like, that was kind of hard, but like it felt awesome while I was doing it, and then afterwards I was like, oh, it sounds so cool. Oh, that's not there anymore, that's weird. So yeah. Yes.
What do you prefer to do more as a voice actor, video games or actual anime series? Like for an example, between Swords Online and Borderlands 2, which one did you prefer to do the most?
They're both different. Somebody was like, for practical reasons, there was one voice actor that said, I will always say video games because they pay more. And I was like, I don't think that's the case. I love being able to develop a character over time, like I've gotten to with Sword Art Online and with Fairy Tale. And we have multiple seasons. We get to come back. We get to revisit these characters. We kind of get to know them a little bit better. Which for a game, when you hope the game does well and they want to do another game, but it might be like 3 to 5 years before we get to do that. You might not get the same writer again. And like with Borderlands 2, Anthony Birch was such a wonderful collaborative writer in that he would give all of us a skeleton of like, this is what needs to happen in the scene. Now ad lib and go crazy. And he's like, because I hired you, I want to see what you bring to the character, which is not always the case. I mean, some video games you work on, they say it has to fit in this tiny little window of 5 seconds, and you have to say all these things. So they all have their different challenges. I do enjoy that for video games, sometimes you get to improvise, but I also enjoy the challenge of, with anime, we are bound by the flaps, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I am stressed out. I'm always excited. If something fits the first time, it's like, yes, that's cool. If it doesn't fit the first time, I like to kind of work my math brain and my language brain and say, how many different ways can we say the sentence? Where can I pause? How do we make that work? So they both have their challenges. They both have their advantages. And I'm just excited when I get to work on a new project. And sometimes for a video game, it feels like it's done so fast. Whereas if it's a larger character in an anime, you're usually at least gonna live with them for 2 months, which is nice. So, oh my gosh, so many people. Iron Man! You knew you were gonna do that. That was a good call.
Alright, so I have to stand up.
Cheater.
I'm so biased, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had an Iron Man question.
Okay, so Lucy, what is your true honest opinion about Jose Forla?
No comment.
She pleads the fifth.
I plead the fifth, yeah.
I believe the fifth of Jack.
Fair enough.
Cherami thinks everything in Fairy Tail is awesome. Cherami even thinks the Nalu shipping is awesome. Lucy does not.
Well, break your heart. Tom Havercorn ships Natsu with Blue.
Yeah, he ships a different person with Natsu every 5 seconds. Changes his mind all the time. Yes.
Oh. Well, speaking of Tom Havercorn, what's it like beating his butt in almost every anime you two are in?
What? I don't do anything.
Yes, you do. Luda Anime, Natsu.
Sergeant.
No, he's pretty
Tail.
impressive in Fairy Tail. Natsu's
No, I'm
pretty
saying you're always beating him up, bro.
Oh, I don't beat him up. I don't physically.
No, when the
Yeah, like
anime
if
I
your character is
verbally
beat
harass
him up.
him. Yeah. Totally.
I know I was gonna mention Sword Art because that was something totally different.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that was,
There have been, I've worked with
Not
Todd so
safe
many
for
times
work.
that we get along very well, and I love getting to hang out with him, and I love getting to work with him because he's insanely talented. He was calling me about a convention, being like, so I found out you're going to this convention this weekend, and I had just finished the Sword Art Online session, and they had just played me the first intro to his character when, can't give spoilers away. They're in the hospital, and him and Bryce are having the conversation.
Yeah.
The first time you kind of figure out what's going on. And Todd's character does some things that I think were very weird and creepy. And so I finished my session. Well, I record everything. They said, we want to play the scene. And I was like, oh, Todd's so impressive. And then I open up my phone. I see I have a voicemail. I play it. And Todd's like, hello, Cherami. And I was like, I can't listen to you. So I didn't even text him back and say, like, can we handle this via text? I just didn't respond. And so when we got to the convention, he was like, are you mad at me? I was like, I'm sorry. You're really good at what you do, to the point that, like, I just heard the scene, like, I didn't want to hear your voice. It was very uncomfortable. And he was like,
a little part of me died.
yeah, it was brutal. But yeah, no, I love working with him. We've worked on a couple of shows where we get to be nice to each other, which is always fun.
No, the best ones are when you're beating him up.
Yeah, no, we're working on one show now where we're like, we're pretty. Nah, I guess we do have some moments where we're still like bickering, but we do have some nice moments to the point that I'm like, well, this is a good change.
Yeah, right.
This is fun. We haven't done this before. So yeah, it's been pretty exciting. Yes. Doing the Hunger Games thing. Yes.
Well, since Filmation needed, I think, the rights to it till season 2, was it more of a challenge to do Shana?
It was terrifying because I had seen the first season and I love what Tabitha did. I mean, somebody was like, you need to watch the show because she's short and you're short and you'll bond.
Short, we're all short, everybody's short.
And so I was like, well, that's a silly reason to watch an anime. And I watched it, I was like, she's really cool. And then Ian Sinclair had said, like, we're doing a movie and we're redubbing this and we want you to come in and audition. And I was really excited about it because I loved the show. And I thought, like, I can't do a voice match of Tabitha because it's going to be a rip-off and it's not going to, I mean, it's going to be annoying. And I can't disregard what Tabitha did because that's not going to work. So before I would do my sessions, I would watch a little bit of Tabitha's version. I would watch a little bit of the Japanese. And then when I was in the booth, I would just like have those two voices in my head and come up with like a hybrid, so that it was still like remain true to the Japanese, because that's what Tabitha based hers off of. That's what I have to base mine off of. And I knew once we got to season 2, I wasn't going to have Tabitha as any sort of a reference like I did for the movie. And Ian was really, I think that was like one of the first few times I'd worked with Ian Sinclair as a director. No, I think I did Black Butler first, but he was, he's a very cool director in that he'll say, do you like that? Did you feel good about it? And I'll say, yeah, I think so. He goes, you didn't like it, let's do it again. Whereas a lot of directors will say, like, we're just pressed for time. But he knew with that one, it was an important show for me. I wanted to make sure that I was doing right by Tabitha. And I had asked, I was like, so did she want to do it? And they said they can't. They couldn't get back. It was going to be too cost. It was going to be too much of the budget was going to be taken out. That like corners were going to have to be cut in production, and they were like, we just couldn't do it. And so she was like, no, you know, and it was going to be hard for her to get back scheduling. So I was like, well, make the lemonade out of what I've got. And I got to work on a really cool show that I loved, so that was awesome. Yes.
One of the shows I really love doing doesn't get a lot of attention because most of the other characters kind of get all the lip service.
They stand out in front.
That's Black Butler.
Yeah, thank you.
What's different than what were like your initial thoughts on the show and the development of the character?
I know in the audition process, you have a lot of the actors who work at Funimation have backgrounds in theater, have backgrounds in Shakespeare, and we're all from Texas. We all have a British accent that we all want to use. It makes us sound really classy. So everybody was like, "Oh, we're auditioning for a show that all they need is British accents. I really want to do this show." And so I knew going in, everybody wants to work on the show. There's no way I'm gonna get cast other than like random little British girl in the corner, which I was totally okay with. I just wanted to use my British accent once. And then Colleen had brought me in, and I think I read for just like a random character that was supposed to be 2 episodes that had a Cockney accent, because that was the accent I liked best. And I didn't read for Lizzie. And she was like, no, let's do like a royal British. And I was like, I don't think I do that very well. And she's like, well, we'll work on it. So she had me audition for that. And then when I got called in, she was like, so you're playing Lizzie? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. And as the show progressed and I got to see more and more her character and her arc, her story is actually incredibly tragic. I mean, like, she's engaged to someone who's never going to love her the way she wishes he would, and I totally understand that because I'm a romantic, so I'm like, I know she's like, we're gonna be together forever and it's so lovely, we met so young and it's gonna be great, and she's just so full of love that even in this like tragic of all tragic moments, she's like unfazed by it. She's like, that's okay, I'll love him and everybody else enough for everyone. And so I told Ian, I said, I feel like she's the kind of person that like loves things so much that she'd like pick up a bunny and just like hold it so much that the bunny dies, and she's like, sorry. And so that was kind of like the vibe that we got with her, is like she's so tightly wound, like she loves everything so much. That she's like so full of love, she's gonna explode. And that's how Lizzie kind of came about, which is really fun to get to play that kind of a character. And then when she has like softer moments, I'm always like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, this is breaking my heart. Like, at least when she's so happy and like full of energy, it's almost like it's a front. Like, I'm really about to break down and cry, so I'm just gonna be really happy on the outside. So yeah, I love that character so much. Yes. Yes. Why are you doing that?
What are your feelings on the old Sword Art versus Sword Art Online 2?
Okay. So I'm like going like the old Sword Art. What's the old Sword Art?
Back in the 80s.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
Back in the 80s, man.
How did they know that there were going to be games like that in the 80s? It's so cool. Sword Art Online 1 versus Sword Art Online 2. Well, I've seen Sword Art Online 2 all the way through. I have not recorded all of it yet. We're still in the process. I am super stoked about the Mother's Rosario arc. I'm so ready to cry. Like,
No crying in the booth. That's a rule.
if that's a rule, they would kick me out every day.
Okay.
'Cause that, especially in Sword Art, I cried so much during Sword Art. I cried so much during Steins Gate to the point that they'll say oftentimes like, "That was so. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay."
Do you want a bucket?
"We're gonna have to do it again because we couldn't understand you." So, I mean, I love Sword Art Online 1, obviously. That show is very, very close to my heart. There were moments of the show that I was frustrated about. I think everybody was frustrated about. But I do feel like they were important for the build of a story, and like I have to like selfishly remove myself from the bias of my character and say like, well, this is important to the story, and it does need to be there. It also gave her an opportunity to kind of become a more well-rounded character. I feel like sometimes, not necessarily in all anime, but in some anime, they will present a character as like, this is the sweet angelic character. This is the perfect girl that like is the dream girl. This is the warrior girl who's kind of sassy and yells at people. And I always like will look at those, and when I'm auditioning for stuff, I'm like, oh, I connect with that. I connect with that. And it's interesting because I feel like as people, we all have all of those sides within us. So when you're creating a multi-dimensional character, you're like, well, so she's not allowed to get mad? She just has to be like really sweet and kind of passive? And so what I loved about Asuna is like she was a strong character, and then you kind of got to see that she was very maternal, and then you got to see like all these different aspects. So it was very nice to get to see her build, and you also got to see with what she dealt with kind of multiple sides of Kirito. Like he wasn't just some warrior guy, and then he wasn't like some romantic lead. He was all of that, plus he was very sensitive, and they kind of had to take care of themselves and create balance. I don't know what show is going to be my what season is going to be my favorite. I think there's definitely arcs from the two that I wish I could like pull together to create my favorite perfect season. Yeah, my ultimate season. The greatest hits of Sword Art Online.
Really quickly, I remember a couple of years ago, Crossroads said that scene that involved Yuli, just you were pretty much useless the rest of the day.
I was, absolutely.
Have you had conversations with like Stephanie Shea about that, and like what her reaction was when she was recording?
I haven't actually.
You should have.
I should have. I don't know if they'll be like.
Oh, there's
so. We have
it.
it. Is she gonna?
Yeah.
She's not scheduled for that panel now that I'm thinking about it. Is she?
What, for the sword art?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, Stephanie is.
Yeah. Like you, Stephanie, Christina.
And Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda will be there too.
Yeah.
So it's all four of us.
Yeah.
Okay. It'll be a Sailor
I guess we
Moon
can ask-
Sword Art
There's a
Online.
mini Sailor Moon sword art.
Yes.
What do you think would go down if Suzuha, Lucy, Patty, and Liz were to join Fairy Tail?
Okay. Suzuha, Lucy, Patty, Liz. Suzuha, I think probably would fit in pretty cool. She's kind of like a boisterous sort of character. I think she'd like Patty, I think she would either get along really well with Natsu, or they would butt heads because they're both like that kind of crazy, nonsensical, high energy. So I don't know, and I would just like to see. I think it would be really cool to see Patty like jump in and be like, "Oh, I'm turning into a gun," and like then Natsu's like blowing fire and shooting guns. Like I just think that would be like really cool. But I don't know if Patty would be down for that, because I think she likes the fact that Death is so kind of flawed and she can mess with them. They are both Todd, so that might work.
You're not standing on the line, Patty.
Yeah, no kidding. Natsu would just be like, watch me blow another line of blow a stand where she wants.
She's just standing class.
Yes.
With regard to Euclid from This Zombie, can you talk about the direction and challenge of having to express a character only by reacts?
It was so hard. It was so hard because, well, I had been working with Tyler on Fairy Tale, and he's like, so I have this random show. I want you to play this character. She doesn't talk.
Easy pay.
I was like, wait, so am I not gonna like voice anything? He was like, no, she sings in like one episode, and then she has a couple lines. I was like, okay, so I guess I won't do the show until then. He goes, no, she reacts the whole time. So like the first episode, I was like, this is a fun challenge. But then once you get into like 18, 19 episodes in, you're like, oh, how do I make these sound different? Like this. Oh. And they would say like, please, they would translate the full paragraph and say, only one sound, say all of these things. I'm like, what? I think the hardest part about that experience was doing the little promotional extras thing, where they had us like dress up as our character, and they put me in this like child's armor yeah. And Tyler was like, oh, I found this like night set at like a Toys R Us. I figured it would fit you. So like the armor fit, but the helmet was a little small, so I'm like constantly adjusting the helmet. But the hardest thing was like trying to get all of these like things written down that fast. Because like in the anime it's drawn, you know, like let's suspend belief that she can write a paragraph. But like they wanted me to write full sentences, and they kept going, Cherami, write faster. I was like, okay, hold on. You want it to be legible, you want it to look nice, but you want it done in like 2 seconds? There's 19 words. Chill. And during the whole time, I think Jade was like, Cherami, we're trying to go method, so you can't talk the whole time while you're recording this. And I was like,
no!
And she goes, yeah, don't do that. So that was like the most painful, because they would just be like, Cherami, hurry up, don't talk. And I'm like, you're insulting me, and then you're not letting me talk? Like, I can't even defend myself?
You're confusing me.
I think once we finished, I was like, you guys tried doing that. And they were like, we can't, it's not our character.
Someone being a smart ass today.
Austin Tyndall stole that.
Yeah, no, Austin wore dress, you know. They found that at Goodwill, just like hanging up somewhere, and they were like, oh, it's perfect! It's ridiculous. Yes.
Me?
Yes.
One of my favorite characters you do is Cecily from Sacred Black Smoke.
Oh, thank you.
What are your thoughts on that character in that show?
That was really fun, because that was like the first time that I'd worked with Bevins in such a character that like had such a big role in the show. Obviously, there's a lot of fan service in that show.
I call him Chicka Bow Wow moments.
Yeah. But I really appreciated that character, and that she had a lot of like. I mean, I've always said I've been very blessed to play a lot of characters that have a lot of integrity and really like say what they mean and they want to do the right thing. And for her, it wasn't even just like, I'm doing this because I know I'm supposed to. It was, I'm doing this because I have a line of people that came before me, and I'm representing them, and I want to, follow in their footsteps. And it was kind of like a really strong female character in like a man's world with a strong lineage of men behind her, and so that was really, really cool to get to do that.
Yeah, it's honestly not a very good show, but you make it good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Oh, who do you ship more, Kirito with Asuna or Kirito with Shino?
Oh God.
No! You can't ship! They're already a couple.
Gloves are coming on.
They're already a couple, for goodness sakes.
Where would Yui fit into the family? You know? I mean, come on.
She's adopted.
Yui. I mean, they're all so cool, but we were trying to like figure out where we were gonna pair all the girls with, and we did a lot of bloopers. That's actually something funny that's happened, and I'm not gonna give away the blooper because I'm just gonna hope that they're gonna release it when they do the blooper for season 2. But we were making a lot of jokes, all in good fun. We were doing Sword Art Online, and there's a scene where like all of the girls are there, all of them.
Yeah.
And every time she would say something, we would have one of the other girls that have been there since season 1 just be like, you're not allowed to have opinions yet. Until it was all in good fun, and then she came in and recorded something, and she goes, I've earned my right to have opinions. She goes, Asuna and I can have opinions. And then that sat there for a while, and then we had some of the other girls come in, and they're like, wait, what? Why is Asuna allowed to have opinions, and she's allowed to have opinions, but not the rest of us? And so then when I went in for the final session, I was like, I have no problem with any of this, because regardless, I'm allowed to have opinions. So.
And all the while, Bryce is just smiling.
Well, Bryce came in and he goes, I feel like you all can have opinions. And so we recorded something from when Bryce came in where we were like, nobody cares what you think, Bryce. So, which was, it's all in good fun. So that was a fun thing to happen in the booth, as they always do. Who has not asked a question yet? Yes.
Since you voiced like Lucy for so long, you got to know the character a lot. Is there a piece of advice that you would give her?
I honestly just hope that she's been in situations where she's been beaten down so many times and she's still so resilient, that the only thing I would tell her is like, please do not lose that energy of like, no, we can do this and we can make this right. Because at some point, like I've told the director, I'm like, at some point, I would probably be like, this is not working out. Like, this is just not a plan. But with her, I've watched ahead, so there's a couple things that happen like later on, what we haven't recorded yet, where you feel like everyone's going, Lucy, this is a bad situation. She's like, no, I can fix it. And people go like, she's an idiot. I was like, no, I love that about her, because she's not gonna give up for anyone. She's definitely like, nobody's getting left behind. I care about these people. And so that would be my advice, like, please don't lose that, because it would be really sad for me to voice a character that's suddenly like, you know what, I've been beat down so much, I'm really apathetic, I just don't care anymore. Because I can always hold on to the fact that like, no matter what goes on, Lucy's always gonna be like, no, these are my people, we gotta save everybody, we're not hurting anybody, we have to do this the right way. So that would be my thought. Yes. Yes.
I heard you never cooked before.
I don't like to cook, no.
You cross over like 2 shows, anime shows, in like one. What 2 shows do you choose?
Like if I would cross, like 2 shows I would create?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you like 2 characters that would be me. I think, like, at least because this probably because it's fresh on my brain, Fairy Tail and Sailor Moon. They're very similar. I think it would be like they're all like multiple worlds. There's a lot of magic involved. Lots of fun girls, doing things.
Lucy's outfit
Yeah, she could be like another sailor. I don't know what planet we give her.
Not to Mars probably just burn each other.
No, we got Pluto. There's already a Pluto. Sailor Milky Way. Sailor Interstellar.
Speaking of which, I need a Milky Way.
Yeah, I would love to take on Asuna's cooking. I used to like never cook, and then I found out I have like a lot of random allergies, and so I've now had to like start cooking things, because otherwise it's like, I can't eat that. Yeah, I'm gonna eat this carrot.
Carrot.
Yes.
Basically, are there any more of your obscure characters that you wish more people were like huge fans of? Not from those fairy tale, but like some.
I used to always say that everybody forgot My Ghost Hunt, which is one of like my favorite shows. But
my
like,
favorite nickname for Todd Havertz.
yeah, Naru the narcissist. I made a joke with Todd the other day. I was like, dude, we should get a box set. So